people in general avoid conflict. They avoid tough conversations because they cannot be comfortable being uncomfortable.
You do not matter as much as you think you do. So stop worrying about what other people think. Stop basing decisions on what other people's perceptions are. You don't matter half as much.
And dude, it's never easy to say we have to get rid of 30 people or 40
I
people.
don't disagree with you. Wow, this is probably one of the craziest episodes we've ever done. This is crazy because it started at midnight practically. We ended almost at 3 a.m. After all was said and done. But we have literally the CEO and founder of Right Hook Digital, Mr. Dee Deng. Literally, these guys were doing $1 million a month in their agency in 2020. So imagine where they're at now. But they're doing it like almost fully remote. It's absolutely insane. And then we have Tommy Patterson and Kyle Hunt from WKND Digital, CEO and COO, talking about some pretty controversial topics, right?
Definitely. Yeah, we recorded this in my hotel room at Agency Founders in Nashville, and it was such an awesome conversation. Dee talked about what it takes to actually scale culture in a company, hiring, firing. Tommy talked about having to lay off like 70% of his workforce, what that looks like, the stress that it weighs on a CEO and a founder. And we just got into some insane, amazing topics, and it was just a great conversation overall. Dee flew here all the way from Australia, so having him in person on a podcast in America is like unheard of pretty much. So we were greatly honored to not only have Dee, but to combine forces with Kyle and Tommy. This was a podcast for the books, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Are you opening?
Sure.
Go for it, baby.
All right.
Hey everybody, I'd like to welcome you to the newest podcast on the block.
The 4 Media Uncut Podcast with Tommy Patterson. Oh my God. Well, as you guys can see, we are not in our normal studio. We've got Tommy Patterson, Dee Deng, and Kyle Hunt with us. Kyle, you sat in on one of the podcasts with Tommy and Brandon.
Yeah, you did.
You made like a little cameo, I think, in one part. But Dee, you're brand new to the podcast. Welcome. How far did you have to fly?
23 hours.
Holy shit.
Dee, bro, get rid of the American accent. Just talk like you normally do, bro.
Oh, yeah. We'll
Don't put on a fake accent
it.
for the people, man.
Eddie, for you.
There you go. Just be yourself, man. I appreciate that.
I feel so much better talking like this.
Yeah, bro.
Oh my
I feel
God.
so safe in this space with my voice.
Earlier you said your name. You said, why do you think I go by D? What's your name?
Oh no, like that was bullshit. Like
Okay.
I just punk white people with that shit because it's so convincing.
No, because earlier we were like, oh, she goes by T because no one knows how to say her name. He's like, why do you think I go by D?
He's so good, bro. You guys are on fire
amazing.
tonight. I can already feel the fucking.
Because I'm next to this
It's like
guy.
a sit-down
my
comedy
God.
show over here.
Oh my God.
What do you do, D? I feel like everyone knows who Tommy is at this point. They've listened to him before.
And Kyle is Tommy's business partner in WKND. Kyle, give a quick introduction real fast.
Yeah, so my name is Kyle Hunt, and I am Tom's partner in WKND Digital and also his partner in WKND Investments. And WKND Digital is our full-service growth agency. In WKND Investments, we do minority equity investments in D2C brands.
So you're still doing minority equity. You're just not doing minority equity in agencies.
Well, so the agency, we never really tried to do, we always tried to do a full, it was the other way around, right?
Okay.
So we would acquire the asset and then start basically a new shell company and give them equity in the new shell company, but take the actual book of business.
That's what we do too.
Yeah. So
What's the split though for you guys when you do that?
well, I mean, we want to get as much as humanly possible, but that really ultimately depends on how you negotiate.
Fair, yeah.
the
How much
deal.
cash is up front? What's the salary? Is like
100%.
everything. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, 100%. But we're not actively doing that right now.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And Dee Deng, the newest member of the 4 Media Podcast.
Tell us about yourself, Mr. D.
I run Right Hook Digital.
Yeah.
I live out in Australia, even though I don't sound like it nor look like it.
I just found that out yesterday.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Like, where did you think I lived the whole time?
Like the States?
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's funny. That's funny. No, so I live in Australia.
Yeah, bro. When he gets
Yeah.
on these calls, it's like 5 a.m. his time. He's just jumping
So
on.
just some shit like that, totally. Because like, you know, like 4:30 walks and stuff. This guy. So I run Red Hook Digital, work with D2C brands. We do like paid social, email, search, and stuff like that. But
When was your first $1 million month in Right Hook?
Jesus, I don't. Like COVID feels like time contracted and expanded at the same time. But I want to say 2020.
COVID year.
Yeah,
Wow.
COVID year. I think COVID year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like but man, like but at that, like, y'all remember like the start of it, March 2020,
Oh yeah.
and then like
That's
the
when it got
conversations
real.
you had to have with like what we had with team. We were like planning for like, all right, the leadership team's gonna take a pay cut, and we're all gonna do all these things so that everyone gets to keep their jobs because everyone's dying out there. We don't know what the fuck's going
Damn,
on.
I didn't have a company at that level at that time. That was kind of the point where I was like,
How
fuck
big?
it,
How
let's
big
play
were you
bigger.
guys?
Bro, I was tiny at the time.
Like,
COVID, I
what,
was
like
tiny.
15, 20 people.
Oh,
If-
Bro, what are you
man.
talking about, bro? I
Yeah.
fucking
Same.
I had 6.5, 7 people, bro, on my team.
That sounds awesome.
6.5.
And then by the end of the year, we had like 15. And by the end of next year, we had like 60.
We had one guy that had no legs. I love Frank.
But look, Frank can only do so much, bro.
You know what I mean? You know, he just wasn't making the cut. He was half the man I thought he was going to be. In stature and talent.
He had already made the cut.
Oh shit, this is too good. This is too good.
We love you, Frank.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, you're a founder, CEO. Are you CEO?
Yeah,
actively?
CEO, and we don't have a COO.
Okay, interesting.
So I play kind of like
Whoa.
I
By
play like
choice?
an operating CEO by happenstance. So we had Beck. She ran she was running head of operations, but the once you get to certain like head count size, I don't mean revenue size, like just level of complexity starts to show up a whole bunch more that you have to account for. That like you can't SOP your way out of that stuff, right? Operations kind of takes on a different meaning. So Beck kind of hit the ceiling of her capability. And so she was like trying to get pregnant and all this other stuff. So like Beck she went, I'm just not going to have I just don't want to work. I just want to focus on like being a mom and all that other stuff. So that then kind of put me, and I naturally enjoy that shit. I don't know whether I'm like sucker for pain or anything, but I like operations, right?
It gets your gears going.
It gets my gears.
When
Yeah,
I
it
talk
gets
to you,
my-
that's what like.
And he's excellent at it.
He's amazing,
Like
bro.
next level.
Oh, he's like so deep into like
Serious.
thank you.
human operation.
No,
You so kind. I like you.
I was almost going to do it. You know what I mean? But I couldn't do it
Right,
anymore.
right.
You know what I mean? Because somebody on the internet be like, he's a racist.
Yeah, I say do it anyway.
But I'm going to do it anyways. You're welcome.
No,
Give a longer one. Give a longer one later on.
no,
See-
it's not. Asian people don't say you're welcome. We say no problem.
Exactly.
So next time I say thank you, you say no problem.
No problem.
Yeah. I like that one right there. So operating CEO, Andy Grove, Intel, high output management.
Yep.
That's the kind of archetype that I kind of look up to, and I'm like, man, the guy's like in the weeds. He's operating the thing, but he's also CEO. Intel, great book by the way.
Amazing
Right?
book.
Yep.
Great book, high output management. Recommend it to everyone.
I got it because of him.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I kind of like jump
Bro,
on
every
Zoom
time I
calls
get on a
like
call
that.
with you, I order 3 books on it.
Right, I just throw people.
It's like
books.
this
I'm
thing
like,
I
just
read
go
in this
read.
one book. I'm like,
Dude,
Yeah.
I add 3 more books to my shelf that I'm not going to read. But I'm gonna look at.
100%. But you get the gist
I
of the
go,
book
yeah,
just by ordering
I
it.
bought
You're
the
like,
book.
I get the point.
I bought the book.
Yeah, and then like use me for
But then I buy the
TLDR.
book and I listen to it. That's what I do. It's so crazy. I'm so sorry. But it's so crazy how like I will buy a physical copy of a book, but then I'll just actually buy the thing to listen to it, and then I'll go reference the book. But then I'm like, it's way easier. Why don't I just buy it and listen to it?
Well, then you can't point to it and you say, I have many books when people are over your house and you seem way cooler.
Very true.
This is true.
Marketing, branding.
Yeah, branding.
Do you feel like there's more value in listening to a book versus reading it? Like,
I think it for me, I've realized that I just digest the information better that way. And I actually love to combine it with physical activity, like walking or doing exercise, because I feel like I really digest it better. Reading, I love reading too, but I can't like read like insane. Like for me, learning is a challenge that way, like consuming information like by reading it versus like listening to it. I guess I'm more auditory learner.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like I can't retain when I listen. So
I'm the
when
same as you.
Yeah. So I have to read, and not only do I read, but I take notes while I read, and that's how I retain.
That's too
Yeah.
much for me.
I'm like the
I was
opposite.
never a notes guy.
Hey, so by the way, that sounds like someone who was valedictorian of his college, high school, every fucking first grade class.
Kindergarten onward.
Just someone who's
Unanimous.
systemized
Bring your mic a little
and likes to learn.
Yeah, this dude is very smart, man.
I'm like the
actually,
opposite.
all of these guys.
I'm like the opposite. When I'm reading a book, I will my eyes are reading the words, and then my brain just starts like thinking about other shit. But if I'm listening to it, I like
Same.
can't turn my ears off. I don't know.
Same.
Yeah, it's weird.
You guys are also the creative people, and I feel like we're the analytical people in a way as well.
But I'm a Virgo, bro, so I'll be analyzing.
I'm a virgin, bro.
Really?
Wow.
Damn.
Casting couch tonight.
Y'all heard that first here.
At the casting couch.
Hey, yo, we up at the 4 Media Lab, and we about to pop this fool's cherry, dog. Yo, this is going off the rails.
Oh my
real quick.
god. So Right Hook Digital.
No, seriously though, I don't understand. Cause you get how many team members do you guys have?
105.
105, bro. And you're like, I feel like you have a, I don't know your business super well, but I feel like you have to have a pretty efficient 105.
We're very inefficient. I'm just kidding.
No, like for real. Like, the like what Tommy was talking about today, right? For his talk. Great event, by the way. Wish you guys were here. For like what
I
yeah,
appreciate that.
no kidding. But what Tommy was talking about, right? Like you start looking hard enough, like waste is everywhere.
Yeah,
all the time. And sure, like are things tight enough that wheels don't fall off? Yeah,
100%.
But are wheels tight enough all the time? Like, you don't buy a car and go, this is a great car, the wheels don't fall off.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right? Like you buy a car because it's like finely tuned and it takes corners the way it takes corners, and when it's on the straight, it goes the way it goes. So that's the target state that we're trying to get to, right? And because anything else less than that is just sheer luck. Really, it's not it's not replicable. You can't carbon copy that each and every time, which is the biggest headache that I think professional service firms have, which is
In every industry of professional
in almost every industry. You have the founders where the company is their brainchild, and they have managed to find some early success because they have something that manages to, when it touches the market, resonate enough for people to part ways with their money and be like, yeah, I'll pay for this, right? But then you bring person number 2 on, and number 3 on, number 4 on. The challenge becomes maintaining that something and passing it through when the founders are not there.
Yeah.
Right? Like when the founders are not there. Like when the boss isn't there, or when the teacher isn't there, how does the classroom, like, does it just fall to shit and everyone's just like messing around? Or are they still doing that thing, which is super hard? You got to like find people that actually give a shit, that are bought into it, that aren't here just to like learn and then go start their own agency, or come here and like just career hop. So it's like a people game from an acquisition standpoint. It's a people game from a retention standpoint. It's a people game from an upskilling standpoint. I call it the software upgrade. Like you can come in with your hardware, that's fine. Like, but we're not in the hardware business. We're not laborers.
Yep.
We can work, like, I was in crutches for 8 weeks, like 10 weeks last year. I was still working, like, because our jobs afford us the ability to do that. Sure, I wasn't in pain, yeah, for sure, but
Knowledge work.
right, it's knowledge work, exactly.
I mean, you on crutches, if fucking Jerry over here with no legs.
Frank.
Right, Frank.
If Frank can do it, bro.
If Frank can do it, what excuse do I
You
have?
know what I mean?
man?
Yeah,
Exactly.
nothing less, bro.
Frank's like, toughen up, cup of concrete. Like, have a cup of concrete and harden the fuck up, right? So yeah, it's a long roundabout way to say, are things okay? Sure. Are they great where every single client that comes on or every single person that touches Right Hook receives the same level of like service and quality? No. And that pisses the shit out of me, which is why I love the game.
100%.
Right? Because it's like this, I call it the disobedient Rubik's Cube. Like you sit there at your desk during the week and you're trying to like find these books and resources and talk to smart people and bring it home. And you go like, man, I got one side, all the colors are right. Let me set this down for a bit, go home, like make sure my wife remembers what my face looks like and spend time with the family and all that stuff. I'll come back tomorrow morning and somehow like one of the sides just like shifted itself back. And I just sit there and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking crack you one day. And that's fun for me.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
So what percentage of your workforce could you not have working right now for you and your company be at least as efficient as it is? Maybe it becomes more efficient. I'm not asking that. I'm just asking maintain current efficiency without losing efficiency.
I love posing ourselves that question all the time, right? And I'm so glad that you asked that question. So let me give you an example. So Kyle knows this, Tommy knows this. Like I've taken the team like real hard into this whole like Toyota lean thing, right? We and I spoke about this.
We've
like,
spoken about this
like a few months ago.
It's awesome.
To the point where I'm like that fanatic that it's like, here we go. Dee's gonna say something about lean, like back home at the off, like with the team, right? The moment something comes up, I start speaking. They're like, here we go. Wait for it, Toyota. Someone's gonna. It's like Toyota bingo, right?
Do you go on your daily Gemba walk?
He's wearing a Toyota shirt when he shows up at the office in the morning.
Just like I drive a Camry now. So Ray, who is our head of client success, love that dude to bits. Funny story.
Does he live in Australia too?
No, he does not. He lives
here.
He lives
that's the guy
in
that-
Tennessee.
Yeah, Ray.
Yeah, Ray.
Yeah.
Like yoke dude.
Your partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super
okay.
cool
Yeah.
He's
guy,
awesome.
So Ray.
Shout out Ray.
Ray.
Shout out Ray.
Shout out Ray.
Self-admittedly, he prides. Shout out Ray, man, for sure. Ray Johnson, love you.
Right hook, baby.
Rago, baby. Ray, like self-admittedly, he calls himself like he's like I'm Boxer from Animal Farm. Like, right? Like, give me a challenge and I'll put my nose to the grindstone and just grind it out. I love doing that. You tell me to like stop and slow down and look at a problem and let's talk about this. I feel like it's a complete waste of time. This was way at the start of this whole Toyota thing.
Yeah.
So, and this is a roundabout way to answer your question, by the way.
No, I'm listening.
So, nice. So
Finally.
fast forward to
Fuck these headphones.
fast forward to Q4 last year, late Q3, Q4 last year. Ray went to do what Tommy was talking about and went to just go like, let me just look at what the copywriters do like Monday to Friday. Not ask them what they do or look at like the amount of copy that they produce. I'm gonna just watch recordings of what they do during their day. I'm just gonna ask them to screen record, not even narrate what they're doing. I'm gonna just watch that. Like, how boring does that fucking sound?
Yeah, horrible.
Right? It sounds fucking like horrible. Like it's watching grass grow, literally.
Yeah.
Right? Just in a different way. But based out of just watching that, it took him a while. Like, and God bless him for doing it. He found like he came back to me because we have like we have coaching calls, right? And everyone in Right Hook like has a coach. That's the kind of target state we're trying to get to. So I play coach for Ray.
We'll come back to that because I want to ask about that. It's interesting.
For sure. And he goes, I just found 40% more capacity for the copywriters. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, like starting next week, if we implement this, our copywriters can take close to 2x the work that they can take on now.
Yeah.
And
Or we can reduce.
right. Or we can go the other way.
Or we can get more profitable.
Yeah. Or one copywriter, like half the copywriter team, maintain the same thing.
Yeah.
So those are all the small little leverage points that starts getting cool, right? Now it's like unlock.
Dude, and that's just from the first audit.
Exactly. That's the first pass. That's the first pass.
Not even going deep
Yeah.
into the weeds.
Yeah.
And if you can come to that conclusion from that first audit, then going even deeper, you will find so much more that can be improved.
Yeah. Can I throw another book at y'all?
Tommy's like, I'm going to not stop until I'm the only person in this company because I'm the most efficient.
Bunch of robots, baby.
Me and the machines.
Me and Kyle. Me and the AI.
And ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And Kyle and my brain will be one brain.
Finally.
Like in like in Avatar where the
right.
you have the tail. You could do it.
I actually can do it.
Dude, I was actually surprised because I've only ever seen you with the top knot. When you had your hair down, I was like, holy shit.
It weirds a lot of people out.
I was shocked for a second.
Yeah.
I was like,
You asked me if I had extensions on.
I was like,
I almost wanted to punk you and be like, yes, I sure do.
God.
I'm like, damn, you just struck me as the guy who would like go out of his way to put an extension on to make it look, you know what I mean?
That's dope.
Oh shit! But can I throw another book at y'all?
Yeah.
This one's really hard to audiobook, admittedly. I'm sorry. Strategy Maps, by Nolan and I want to say Kaplan. Anyway, they have this one time scale, kind of like mental model, right? And they go, if you want to add bottom line to your business, from a time scale perspective, the fastest to ROI portion will always be increasing your productivity. If you focus on like just increasing your operational output effectiveness. And then the next piece is creating new service offerings.
Yep.
Right? In terms of time. So fastest one to get to like adding to your bottom line, your ops and all that gunk. If
Operational efficiency.
Right.
At
Operational
the
excellence. Exactly. And then the next one that takes a bit longer time would be your just more like different service offerings or better service offerings, like altering your
Innovation.
service offerings.
What services do you guys offer at Right Hook right now?
Paid social, retention, so email, SMS, we just call it retention, and paid search, right? From a timescale perspective, you draw that out even further, it goes into the learning and growth part. Again, something that you were talking about, like training up your people, right? It takes longer, but it yields higher.
Yes.
Add to the bottom line, it just takes longer.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's they call it like the social responsibility type stuff, like, you know, adding to the community and giving back to your employees. And if, you know, like a lot of our team are in the Philippines, so like doing that adds to goodwill and it starts to build your company reputation.
So let's say 25% of your company is bloat inefficiency.
Mm-hmm.
You've done the numbers and you can shave 25%.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it takes a lot of time to get certain people to where they're at.
Yes.
Okay. That 25% isn't necessarily like you haven't fired them,
Mm-hmm.
but you know they're bloat. Is it because you've invested time into them? Is it because it's an emotional attachment? Or is it because from a goodwill CEO perspective, you would rather figure out how to make that 100 efficient and not have to fire 25 of them?
Yeah, love the way that you're framing that. The bloat that we find tends to be in the process, not the people. So it's two like different subject matter. That
Of course, but
right?
isn't it easier to optimize the process with less people? It has to be.
In a way, yes. So to optimize because we're broken up modularly, so it's all like pod structured, right?
Yeah.
So like a certain pod. So once we have one cookie cutter thing that's working,
You run it across.
we can actually just like disseminate across, right? So that works out. Although that being said, at the centralized like shared resources level, so like Right Hook like internal marketing or like sales, like that's like it cuts across the organization.
Just
right?
OPEX. Let's call it
Right,
OPEX.
Right, exactly. That one becomes a bit harder. But to answer the other part, which is there are some people that just like have proven to be incapable, right? The bar has been set here and they're trying, not for the lack of intention, then that is just like the needs of the organization has moved on.
Agreed. So
Right.
is that someone you fire and don't replace, or is that someone that you find a replacement for?
That's very case by case. Like, right. And
And
we're
it
in
depends
the
on what the
thick of it
goal
right
is,
now.
right? And it depends on what the goal is. Because if you're still aggressively trying to scale, then you don't fire those people. But if you're trying to stack chips in a cold winter, then you're letting those people go.
That's okay. So that's the part, as we talked about earlier, that I guess your approach is let's build the wall. Let's keep our people safe and let's have higher margin. Whereas I was thinking we're just going to keep growing.
Yeah.
Bro.
Well, and this is why it's so important to be crystal clear on the North Star goal that you're optimizing for. And then not only the process that you have to go through to achieve it, but the opportunity cost that also comes along with the process that you're trying to achieve it. And which is greater and what's more important to you, you know?
And it's unique for each
100%.
entrepreneur, each business, the vibe or the culture of each one. So it's so unique. There's no right answer.
But financially, there is a right answer. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, it just that also.
Well, not always.
Not yeah.
Right?
That could
'Cause that's
depend on the goal
company
too.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your ultimate goal for exit, or for instant cash.
Yep.
Okay, let me rephrase. Not financially, from a profitability perspective, there's a correct answer. Current
From a
profitability.
P&L standpoint,
Yes,
if you're
yes,
casting
yes.
a P&L
That's it.
perspective,
I'm not talking about
more P, less L. If you boil it down, really, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think that if you cannot have a metric of value that you can get that is at least 5 times greater than what you're paying out, which is our goal, which is very hard to do per employee. Why have the person? Here's the other thing. Why have the person if you have to think for them, execute for them, solve problems for right? And fundamentally at its most root cause, the basic level is because of your inability to properly train and ingrain the culture and the way that people execute. And really what it goes down to even further than that, your inability to hold people accountable for the role that you have given them and have a consequence for said mistake, problem, challenge, whatever. That is what just starts this compound effect of bigger issues and bottlenecks. And so, and I'm not saying your inability. I'm saying the
entrepreneur as an example.
you know what I mean? And so through this process for us, we've just realized that we have a broken machine, and the machine doesn't actually need to work with all of these assemblymen, right? We can produce the same output with far less people,
Or
and it's not
more output.
actually more output, you know?
You think that with 31 people, you will do more output than 100?
100%.
Whoa.
100%.
Whoa.
100.
I get 60 or 70, but 31. Whoa.
100%.
Well,
How are you utilizing those people? And here's a question for the panel, right? Would you not agree that your output is more than 5 times who you the average person, 10 times the average person, the people that you work with? I mean, I could do every single role if I wanted to and still do what I'm doing and probably do it better than most of the people in my organization. So again,
Doesn't it just come down to time though sometimes?
agreed. But 30 of the right people, just Steve Jobs said this. What do you say? 100 of the right people will run circles around 100 A players will run circles around 1,000 B players.
Yeah,
Right. And then even now, right, with technology, think about leveraging that technology, the multiple that you get on that efficiency and the capacity to do perfect work, not almost perfect work, 100% of the time. Yeah, maybe no.
No, for sure. That's why I love that playing operating CEO game, because of the fact that once you the challenge, the game that I'm fascinated by is that unlock right there. It's how do you architect an environment or a system of work that unlocks that multiplier where the person comes in and has 5x output. What an average. So how do I turn them into a cyborg? Use the process to like literally give them so much more leverage in that type of way. And like once you study process enough, you'll find a lot of like we went through our onboarding process and broke it down into something I'll talk about tomorrow called like metrics-based process mapping. So it's a process map. It's a fancy way of saying process map with some metrics.
Like a value stream?
Like a value stream, but at a process level with swim lanes. So whoever touches the process has its own lane. Think about it that way.
Yep.
Right. So if Eddie flips the burgers and Andrew kind of does the fries and you do like the soda,
The buns.
like the buns, sure, right?
I toast them.
And so there's a bit of like a order comes in, sends the ticket to the kitchen.
Yo, bro, I'm not
something
an order
happens,
taker.
something happens, something happens.
Bro, it's okay. We're flipping burgers back here, bro. Take a fucking
I
order.
don't want to be the order taker.
I want to play another role. This is dumb. This is stupid.
I want to do the drive-through.
I want to make the milkshakes, damn it. So something happened, like there's a pass-through of stuff, right? Like order gets done first, and then we do the fries. Do the fries next, and then we do the drink. And then we all put into the Happy Meal box, and then it goes out.
But in the agency space, it's not that simple.
It's not that.
It's not the
I'm
hamburger.
kind of oversimplifying
Yeah.
here, but same kind of thing where sequentially some shit happens.
Yes.
Right. And it, like, you know, you pass me a brief, I got to work on the creative, and then I got to like somehow. And if we study that, we found that and we studied just one pod, right? And we found that there's this one part of the process where literally the best practice, our fucking audacity to call it best practice is, and we're still on Asana. Fuck you, Asana. I can't wait to go to ClickUp.
Hey, ClickUp has its problems too, bro.
Sure,
They
but
all
they
do.
don't
They all
cost.
do.
They don't cost as much. My Asana bill is like $7,500 a month.
Stop it.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm locked in on an annual. That's on a deal. That's on an annual deal.
Stop
Asana.
it. For
Come on.
what?
The fuck?
For what?
Because I'm locked in. Because
Yo,
we
bro.
got too many people. This is the too many people part, and switching over becomes cumbersome, and so we're kind of locked in and all that other stuff. Anyway, I need to talk to you guys about ClickUp and whatever. That's a whole other thing. So we study the process, right?
Who made
And-
this process, by the way?
This process
Third book. Here
just
it goes.
came out of like we've been doing it this way. Like it wasn't like a set thing. Right. So but it was created at the pod level. So we gave them a bit of autonomy to kind of create that. So one part of the process, and I'm giving you like a snippet here. Client will send links to assets and links to like brand doc and links to whatever to this one Asana, and mention the project coordinator, right? The project coordinator will then receive that message and send it to the strategist in Asana, and then the strategist will say at project coordinator received, and then reply back to the client. I'm like, why are we doing
Why
that?
the fuck didn't you just drop it in the client channel?
Why
fool?
didn't the client
God
just
damn.
right in the client just send it to the strategist? The strategist sent like, what is this in the middle? And they were so the first time we did it, they were like really nervous. They were like, am I in trouble here? Like, what's going on? And like, no, we're here to just like study this thing and find these things out so we can just remove them. That's all this is, right? Because the reason why we neutralize, we don't use why when we go through that process with a team. We don't use the verbiage, why do you do this? We tend to try to neutralize that because like that kind of gives you aftershocks of like high school or some kind of accusatory like parental figure.
Yeah.
So we use what caused. It's a small little change, but it's like, hey, what caused you to do this part of the process like this, right? So kind of just neutralize that blame.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't from within; it was an external thing
right.
that caused you to make this the best decision in that scenario.
Right, and they go.
And sometimes they don't even think it's the best decision. It was just it was a decision or the decision, and
Nobody
no one
thought to
and
try
no one
to
fought it.
Right.
improvise or make it more
Exactly, and
efficient.
a lot of the time, in that instance, they go, "That's just how I was trained." Like my predecessor told me that's just how you do it. And of course, when I'm new, I'm not gonna put my arm up and be like, "This sounds dumb." They're gonna be like, "No, I want to keep my job. I'm gonna do this thing," and then you
100%.
fall in the rut, and then that kind of, and then the strategist goes, "I did not even know that's what like happens. I just take for granted." In fact, do you know? In this specific pod, in fact, when I see that happen, I just like message the client straight back. I receive that all the time. Like, so you kind of tagging me in that message is completely superfluous. You take that and you multiply it by like 100 in that one process, by the way,
by 500
in that one process, let alone a value stream.
Yeah.
That's where all like this, okay, now it starts to get cool. Because I just get to strip all this stuff out. Notice how it's not a person problem. It's not like their capability to do something. In fact, it's telling them, don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Stop doing this. It's dumb. Right? And it's dumb. And it's not dumb for me. It's dumb for you. You could be doing so much more, like spending time with your kids because you work from home, or like taking a walk with dogs, like all that type of stuff.
or putting in 16 hours.
Yeah. Or like
I do.
Right.
Just kidding. No,
You get to the computer early as fuck, bro.
Yeah, I enjoy
Bro,
it.
I'm like,
He records it the night before and then switches the.
I
AM for
knew
PM,
it. I knew
Well,
there
so
was
I use
something
ChatGPT to fucking make the next year's posts of my coffee shops.
That's actually genius. Low key, you could. Though.
I just type it in. Yo, this morning I'm getting up at 3:39. No, but hey, the thing that I want to add to what you just said, because what you said is very powerful and so true. But what we don't do, what most people don't do, like I said today, is that they're working in their business, but they're completely out of touch with their business. And the only way you discovered that was by spending time at the ground level
Yeah.
with the boots on the ground
Yeah.
to understand how actually broken and inefficient the process is. And like, it's very easy for us when you get to a certain stage in your business to just trust that it's all working. And you become so reliant on your C-suite and then your management that you're trusting that they're making the best decision. But then when you start turning over these stones and start having these deeper conversations, you understand that, oh, fuck, me as a CEO, I did not do a great job ingraining my standards, my level of execution, the way I want to communicate, how I need you to communicate, how I need you to demonstrate expertise at every single stage. And so it gets less and less and less and more watered down and more broken at the bottom. And the only way to fix that, though, is by constantly indoctrinating your people and working with them until you feel so confident that you can go away for 2 weeks and not pick up the phone.
Yeah. I say this to the team all the time, and I truly mean it when I say it, but I know it gets lost in a lot of people, right? Because it sounds so like cliche. We are what we tolerate.
100%.
It's as simple as that. We are what we tolerate. Not we are what we say we are, or we are what our core values are. It's the stuff that we let slide. Because, you know, like they're loyal team members and all this. Like, oh, no. And we
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Right. I hear say that all the time. Like on our calls and on like, you know, different podcasts. Yeah. Like we are what we tolerate. So if we have a common understanding that within this team, we just do not tolerate that. Right. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can just be pulling you aside and be like, hey, I know you're new here, but that stuff just doesn't fly here. Right. Like we expect more from you. That's why we hired you. Because we thought that you were there. Yeah. And I'm sure that you are. It might have been a slip or whatever, but listen, like we don't do that here. Right. And it's hard. It's hard to maintain that thing. And it's hard to get like a homogenous, everyone understands. And fortunately, like for me, because I grew up like, you know, in Singapore, I had to serve my country. So like being in the fire department, I actually got to see that. Mm-hmm. Right. I got to see a place where everyone knew what their job meant. Also because lives are involved. Right. But in our jobs, like some people's livelihoods are involved.
Oh.
Like, we're managing people's money.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's, you know, ad spend
with
under
their
management.
employees. And,
Ad spend, exactly.
So
it's
many
not too
levels to
different to assets under management, you know? So I take that shit seriously. And the challenge, the game for me is how do I have a team that take that as seriously or kind of take it for granted because it's just like a job, right? And if you want a job, that's cool, but it's just not cool here. And that's okay. It's nothing against you. It's just not cool here. Yeah. Right?
That doesn't work
all
for
it is.
my business.
That's all. Yeah, that's all it is. It just so happens that I run this shit. So kind of like I get to set it.
Because this is my livelihood.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And if you have better ideas and you have a vision and you want to do that, go do that in a place where you like happen to run that thing. Then good for you, and I will bat for you, and I'll support you, and I'll mentor you, and all that other stuff, and I'll give you referrals, and I'll point you to the right people. Like, and if you want to start like an exact copy agency, what we do, I'll point you to the people that I look up to for questions and stuff like that. That's cool. But if you want to be here, be here.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you want to be somewhere else and still kind of stick around, that whole like quietly quitting thing that you know like was making the rounds last year and the year before, like we don't have to tolerate that. Yeah. We just kind of let ourselves tolerate that. We tolerate ourselves tolerating that, I guess is the way to put it.
We choose to tolerate it because it's easier to tolerate it than it is to have that healthy conflict in an organization. And inherently, the bigger challenge is that people in general avoid conflict. They avoid tough conversations because they cannot be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And because of that unwillingness to just address the issue dead on and go through the pain of a potential tough conversation to make your life better, you'll avoid it.
Yeah, and society teaches us that that's like the polite thing to do.
100%.
Okay, let me go in on this topic, especially with Weekend Boys over here. So, before we got on the podcast, we were talking. And D, you still didn't answer my question, by the way.
Oh, which is sorry, I'm sorry.
Why haven't you fired the 25 people if you think they're inefficient?
Because it's
Well, he's 25% is what you said.
25 out of 100, yeah.
Because it's
That's not that math.
It's because it's the inefficiencies in the process.
I'm so sorry.
The inefficiencies in the process, right? We haven't gotten to the people portion yet, right? So
He's still in data gathering mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
great.
still in full blown audit. And also too, you know, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that he has to get rid of anybody, right? Because he can increase that capacity. He can choose to opt for more profit. He could, like, there's so many different ways that you can handle that. And again, I think fundamentally it really just comes down to what you want from this business within what time frame. And, you know, for us last year, obviously big ambitious goals. But what through the process of through scaling really hard, getting up over 130 employees, understanding how hard integration is, understanding that the ability to reach my goal is 100% dependent on other people, I realized very quickly that I can get to my goal a completely different way with less people, where it's easier when I say something, I have 100% confidence in that person's ability to do it and execute it, and I don't got to think twice about it. I would rather go down that road and cultivate 30 savages, like 30 people who are exceptional, next level, who can deliver 100% of the time, than try to do that with 130 people. And more importantly, every single tough decision that we've had to make in our business in 2022 and still having to make in our business has not only proven that we're better as an organization, we're more efficient, we're more profitable, and we didn't even need it to begin with.
Okay, so this is where I was going with it. So you said facing problems head on, et cetera, which kind of like goes along this line of thinking. I would say, and I don't know, Andrew can give an outside unbiased opinion. I would say I face problems head on with every team member, with every situation, with a client. I don't even like waste time. I'm just like,
But it's not you. It's your team.
No. I know. I'm getting from a CEO perspective of like, one, I don't think, and I'm going towards firing a mass group of people in your company problem. Okay. I don't think I have a problem facing problems head on. If we have to fire someone, we fire someone. If we have to have a very serious conversation, put someone in a 30-day probation period, we do it the same day. Like we're not like, we'll do it next week. It's like, oh, okay, we agreed. Cool. When can you have that conversation? Is it in 5 minutes? Is it in 15 or is it 30? Like,
yeah. And you've pushed me to have those too.
Yeah. Like Andrew sometimes even like it's uncomfortable. He'll be like, okay, yeah, maybe. No. It has to happen today before you leave the office. That conversation has to be done.
Yeah, but so something I realized, and I just want to jump in real quick, is that, we're experts at what we do, right? We consider ourselves excellent at what we do.
Fucking hope so.
And right, like at least that's what we're telling people, anyways. No, listen. But here's the thing, though, right? Prospect comes in, You're excellent analyzing, breaking down, auditing their business to show them how you can grow, yet you hardly ever audit your own business. How often do you audit your own business, your own people, to optimize your own business? And see, this is the thing. We get so good at doing it for other people that we fail to look under the hood enough to make sure that the machine's working as efficiently as it could.
We see it with other marketing companies with their own marketing. Like, we go hard on our own ads, you know, like there's so many other marketing companies that like don't even run ads for themselves.
10% of agencies probably actually run ads,
right?
Which is kind of crazy because that's what they sell.
Yeah. People don't give themselves their own advice.
Yeah, well, some people are so good they don't have to. Some people are so good that their entire 8-figure business has been built off of the back of, this guy's excellent, you should go work with him.
Definitely.
But
Right?
No, for sure.
that's an outlier.
Agreed.
Yeah, but do you want to be an outlier or do you want to be average?
No, but it's not even that. It's not even that.
course you want to be
You need the
outliers.
people
Yeah.
to work with you to know that you're good, to be able to tell other people in the first place.
Yeah.
So you still have to acquire people not through other people initially to create that effect. Otherwise, like, who are you working with?
Well, you can acquire organically, right?
Yeah.
And referral, more organic referral.
But what is that organic? That's my point. Like,
well, how'd you get your first client?
I went and hunted people down. I was like, I want
Did
to
you run an ad?
No, I went and chased them down as a business owner and got them to answer my calls and emails and set up meetings and
then it just kept going, right?
yeah, I didn't run an ad for the first like 3 years of our business, and we definitely grew, but we didn't grow as exponentially. Like, I can't organically right now feed a sales team of 5 people. Fucking impossible.
Oh, bro. First of all, don't ever say I can't.
I'm saying
don't ever say anything's impossible.
I said in my current
front of
state.
me ever again.
I'm sorry, Tommy. in my current state, in the business's current state, it's not possible.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like ever impossible. Like, we're striving towards that goal, but in the business's current state and in its state the last 2 years, we do not have enough organic inbound pull for me to feed even 2 strong closers.
Okay, so let me ask you the same question differently. So, would you say that you have given 100% of your time, effort, and energy to perfect that process?
Which process?
The acquisition part. Organically.
100%? No. But I definitely...
Would you say you even gave 80%?
Of my total energy? Oh, of course not, bro.
How much?
I'm the CEO.
Okay. Well, so then what are you saying?
20% of my energy goes toward 20 to 30% of my energy goes towards.
So what is the last
That's
thing
a pretty high
what's
percentage.
the last thing that you've ever built with 20% of your effort that's been great?
But it's not that. I have a team now. So like 20% of my effort's all that's needed.
I know, but it's only impossible because you haven't put your focus on it. Dude, you're a really smart guy. You can't tell me that you can...
obviously if I put all my time and effort into that.
Well, I know. So, but
what
now,
would be the problem? Back to Dee's COO thing. Like, our company couldn't fucking handle that. Like, even if dude, our company could not, and bro, and
if Eddie was on sales 100% of the time, we'd be fucked.
We'd be fucked. Bro.
We could not fulfill, bro. We could
I know,
not fulfill.
but the only point that I'm trying, the only point that I'm
We'd
trying
be
to make,
fucked.
though, the only point that I'm trying to make is it's not that you can't do it, it's that you're not doing it because
our
of
current circumstances.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
because
in
of
our current circumstances.
Because of why? Because there's inefficiency in other areas that doesn't allow you to do that.
100%.
Yeah. Therefore, then what's the need for the people if you can't?
Is it inefficiency though?
I guess eventually your inefficiency, let's just say inefficiency is gone. It's efficiency.
Okay.
Your solution, your only solution, once you're efficient in our business model, is people. Yeah. Correct? Like, that's the only... Once you're efficient...
I don't believe that anymore.
Or
once you're
ChatGPT
actually...
now.
Once
He's
you're
like, I'm a
efficient...
cyborg.
No, but once you're
I have
efficient...
AI on my side.
Let's say we're polished. Let's say we know we're 99% efficiency. Like, whatever. Fucking hypothetical scenario here. The only way to continue to grow is adding another person. At that point. Why not? You're already at 99% efficiency. What could allow you to increase capacity besides more people that operate at 99% efficiency? It's just more people.
Technology.
You're
Why do you
already
need-
at 99% efficiency.
But why would you need? But why would
of
you?
what?
But let me ask you something.
Just operations,
Okay,
like there's no bloat, there's no wasted time.
no.
Things are smooth.
But
you
let me,
know,
but
I'm
let
giving
me-
you a very hypothetical scenario.
no, and
here.
I'm giving you a hypothetical answer
Yeah.
back. But like, why would you? If you had 99 people that were 99% efficiency, but you could do the same amount of work with one person and a machine, why wouldn't you do the work with one person and a machine?
That's a completely different.
But it's not though. I mean, it's like the same thing. It's like, why would you choose to do that if there's a better way? Because you're choosing to do that. I'm not saying it's wrong.
No, I'm not. No, none of this is that. It's all different scenarios.
You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to pick your brain on, because you as a CEO are making a very difficult decision on a personal level, not business level. Business level, I do agree what you're saying is the correct thing, right?
Should we
So,
give
like,
some context too? Because Tommy gave his presentation earlier. The viewers probably haven't seen it, so maybe just give a quick little rundown of
Well, it's
current
not even
scenario.
about his. It's not even about his presentation though. It's
No,
about,
but like he kind of explained like the scenario that they're kind
Yeah,
of in
I
right
mean,
now.
look, I mean, I think that like in 2022, like most people in our space and just in e-commerce in general, you've had to make some really tough decisions, like to keep your business healthy. But through that pain that you experience in having to make those decisions, you start turning over these stones and start understanding how inefficient your business was anyways, and realistically how much more money you could have been making if you were up in it.
because payroll is the biggest cost.
It's a killer of all businesses, right? Like
especially ours.
OpEx, right? And you know, again, I really think that this question is dependent on what you're optimizing for. And you know, I strive for excellence in every area of my life, and I don't want to be average, and I don't want to be in the same category as anyone in my space. I want to be in my own category, right? And so if I think about how do I achieve that goal and what is the most efficient way to achieve that goal, it means that I need to have more individuals who are fully capable of exponentially growing their capacity to do work and do great work that they're proud of. And from my experience, that is very hard to do with 100 people, especially in this business.
Especially
And then if you
in the time frame that we tried to do it.
Yes, totally agree. But even more so though too, man, like what does that actually produce for you by having that? And I don't want to make it like a human capital conversation, but like what does that actually do for you if your goal is to make profit? Would you have and this is the question that I'll even use on a sales call. Like, would you rather have a big business that does 10% profit or a small business that does 70% profit? But they make the same amount of money, right? 100 million at 10% net, or 10 million at fucking 70% net.
Yeah, I was talking to some kid about this last night, at the bar, and the metric I use, it's not exactly full quant. So like all you quants out there, like don't fucking come up my ass on this, but it's like headaches per dollar earned. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it that
Wow.
way,
Yeah.
if you think about it that way,
That's kind of
like,
how I measure things, to be fair.
right. Like
Like,
it's just headaches per dollar earned.
Yeah, it's like it's too many headaches per dollars earned on this. I'm out.
Right. Because, you know, like I'm not, I look at myself and I'm like, I'm not 22 anymore and single. Like I got a wife and a kid and I got shit I want to do with them too. And I got people I care about and mom and dad are getting along with age. Like how many headaches do I want per dollar earned? And because back when I was 22, I was broke. Like, you know, I would take on a lot of fucking headaches
doesn't
for
matter.
that dollar.
Yeah.
I would take on all of y'all motherfuckers' headaches just for that dollar. Because motherfuckers got to eat.
I feel
right?
it, bro. I feel you.
But
And you're Asian and cheap. You
yeah,
don't even turn on the AC.
I'm cheap as
He
shit
doesn't
too.
turn on AC for his family.
Yeah, Eddie's not
Yes,
joking, by the
he
way. That is
is.
for real. Like, honey, I love you, but we're not turning that AC on in the summer. But headaches per dollar earned. And that's, Tommy, that's what you're talking about. Like, it's the headaches per dollar earned. So it sounds like you want the least amount of headaches per dollar earned. And that becomes the game that you're trying to play.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel that. I hear that.
Yeah, and it's also too is, you know, through this process again, no agency background, like didn't start, like came from the e-commerce world too. Like what, you know, it's a really crazy exercise that every entrepreneur should do who's in the service business is like, and depending, no matter, well, unless you're at like, 2 people, but like when you get to a certain size and you ask yourself this really difficult but very potent question, like if I had to start this business over tomorrow, who would I do it with? And if that list is 10 people, then you shouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
My problem is I made that list and it was like 70.
Yeah.
But that's fair too.
That's totally
That's
fair.
fair too. That's that. I think that's
That 100%.
That's the way I'm interpreting it, at least, right?
Yeah.
Like, and when we use that, we're one of the things that we're doing this year is like actually creating a proper performance management system within Right Hook, like where lines are really clear, right? Expectations are really clear, and we have a performance management system. Now, performance management in the world of HR is this kind of like you have your kind of new age people that want to ditch the annual appraisal and all that really old gunky type of HR type stuff. You've got your like Laszlo Bach from How Google Works and those types. And one thing that I think it was Deloitte that started. Was it Deloitte? I think it was Deloitte that started using it. They were one of the first few like big 4 accountancy consultancy firms that did away with that typical what's your KPI for that quarter and what did you want to achieve and did you achieve it or not, like a self-appraisal type of thing. Did away with that, and don't quote me on the company name, right? Could be the company, but it was in the same HBR article, and they made it really simple for their middle management. They just got their middle management to, and they didn't even ask the middle managers to assess what they did for that quarter. They just asked, it's a multiple choice question. With this employee, what would you do with them? Would you keep them where they are, promote them, demote them, or fire them? That's it. So what will you do with this employee? Not what did this employee do, right? So just like that then starts
the framing of that.
Right. That then
different.
starts the whole conversation between employee and direct report and the manager and all that. Like, what would you do with them? Do you think they deserve a promotion? Do you think they need to stay where they are? Do you think they might be shaky as to whether they get to keep their position? It's just like 3 questions, right? Move up, stay here, or go down. And down or out.
Or out.
Yeah, down or out.
How do they protect against individual manager bias, which is probably
right? I want to send you the article. Like that's something I'm trying to go deep on now, and there's like a few books I'm trying to read through to really understand how they did that. I forget if they addressed that in the article, but that was the first question that came to mind too. Is like, wait, this sounds like Game of Thrones now. You're kind of giving middle managers a lot of power for like favoritism or nepotism.
And expecting them to be trained to make those decisions, which in a company like Deloitte that invests a lot of money in their middle management, probably good. But in an agency that's
horrible.
Right.
grown from
no
40
leadership
people
experience.
to 100 people in a year, right?
And that's something that I took away from Patty McCord at Netflix, also HR, also from an HBR article. And one of their tenets at Netflix is a really simple one, is only hire fully formed adults. That's like, like only hire fully formed adults. So in other words, if you are what you tolerate. So if you start coming into my company and you're a fully formed adult, or at least you like to be treated like one, and you start acting the fool, then we don't tolerate that. So either change your shit or change your company.
Dude, I was looking at our average age. 2021, our average employee age was below 24. It was like 23 something.
And that's a real challenge for any manager or any leader of that type of organization when it comes to, how many companies talk about like, make sure that you understand what your employees' goals are and kind of help like make sure that you put a healthy challenge in front of them, right? That type of stuff for like better retention or whatever it might be. Like that's conventional wisdom. The problem, like,
what the fuck do you know?
Think back to when you were 24.
Yeah.
What the fuck
what do I want at 24?
Like I was like, my goals are to hook
girls,
up with as many
Vegas.
women as possible. Can you help me with that, boss?
Cash, partying. Let's go.
Look at it. Look at his ass over there.
So boss, my goal
Guilty,
is
look
to get fucked up this weekend.
Dancing.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's a tough thing, and that means we have a bunch of people that are driven and are good at what they do and can have developed a skill to pretty much print money on the internet or print that money for other people, right, and service them and all that other stuff, but might have trouble articulating what their goals actually are, number one. And then number two, in the span of 12 months, they might fall in love with someone and have completely different goals.
And number three, they don't have enough experience in the business or work world in order to understand what is good and bad in a job environment to appreciate what is good. Therefore, only being able to see the bad and assume that the other job opportunities don't have the bad.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm saying?
The grass is
Yeah.
greener.
Yes. But now our average age is above 30. It's just at like 31.
That's cool.
That's a
Game
7-year
changer.
gap.
Game changer.
Bro, every week I get 3 messages. I'll take an average rough number here from team members that are a paragraph of gratitude.
That's cool.
Thank you so much. I've
Wow.
never worked in a company like this. I've tried everything. This is the most fulfilled I feel. I love my team. I love the people. I love everything we're doing. I like 3 a
Good
week.
for you.
What would you put that down to? Like what does for me to do you think, or possess that has that,
What,
that
what do you
gives them
think?
that?
What do you think? Because you have a different opinion than I do, right? Like I'm blinded by.
Yeah, I'm keen to hear.
something.
I'm excited to hear both of y'all's answers.
It's hard to put a like finger on exactly what it is. I think number one, like we just get to have, I'm like looking at my team right now. Like we get to have like a cool job. Like we actually have fun. Like sometimes it's like, holy shit, we actually get to make cool shit. Like we're as a content team, like we're able to make fun stuff on the internet, like for content. Like some people just do that for fun.
So
and we get to
fulfilling
do it.
work.
Yeah, it's fulfilling.
Okay.
I think like the fact that we're able to do so much, like we like in-house, we have so much fun in-house. We get to work with people remote that are super cool.
Mm-hmm.
We get to connect with people that we wouldn't get to connect with. We're forming like awesome relationships. Like a lot of us are like actual friends now. And like, I don't think for me, like going to work is not going to work. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of opportunities like that where I don't feel like my job is a job. I feel like I'm showing up to work and that's just what I do. Like I just have a fun life because my work is my life and I love what I do. So it's like, I think a lot of people kind of feel that and they just feel that there's an environment of people that want to be high performers and like want to be great at their job. And you were saying earlier, both of you guys, like when you weed out the people that aren't passionate and aren't good at their job, the people that are actually good appreciate that more because they're like sick. Now there's just like a tighter group of these high performers.
Well, and you want to know why they even appreciate it more? Because they were doing the fucking work for them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they were doing the thinking for them, and they were doing the accountability for them, and they were cleaning up their messes. And they're grateful in so many fucking ways because you literally gave them their life back. You gave them their passion back for what it is that they do because they no longer have to deal with incompetence.
It's like the guy in the group project that like doesn't show up and then still gets like a part of the grade, you know? But in fairness, like we actually kind of went through this recently where we were looking at like, you know, who are those people? And there was a lot of them that we were kind of like, damn, actually like there's not nearly as many as there was like 6 months ago, you know?
Yeah, like people that we thought weren't a good fit or don't get me wrong, there's still inefficiency in the company and that comes a lot to
Every
the
company will
processes.
always have inefficiencies.
Yeah, I asked like someone high up in operations. There's like static kickback, by the way. They asked someone high up in operations in Google. I was like, dude, like how do we get our shit as tight as Google? I mean, not Google, Coca-Cola. Sorry. I was like, how do we get our ops like as tight as Coke? And he's like, just stay in business 100 years from now.
Thanks, bro.
I was like, great. But at the same time, I was like,
The power cable's
Like, the
touching the
answers-
tripod.
at the same time, I was like, that
The tripod's
answer
touching the
that
cord.
answer is also very powerful in a way. You know, it's like it puts it in perspective a little bit. It's like we're not doing so bad. And I forgot who it was today that was saying like, when you audit other people's businesses, you realize how shit those are.
That's tough.
Hey, you? Yeah, bro. It puts it in perspective. Dude, I do a lot of consultations, like a lot, especially in the agency space. Like a lot of 6-figure a month agency owners pay me for just hourly time. And while a lot do good things, like we, in a way, end up learning from each other, right? It becomes collaborative. It's like, it starts with me giving you answers, and then it eventually becomes an open relationship where it's like, you ask me stuff, I'm stuck on something, I'll ask you something, and it becomes much more than that. That being said, in doing so and looking at so many people's things, like if you just look at your own, right, especially like us, we're like, okay, we see all the problems, or we don't even see all the problems, right? Like we know there's more. We're just like, I'm not going to turn that rock right now. You know what I mean? And then you look at other people's businesses, you're like, yeah, I'm like, walk like this. Right?
If I can't see it.
La 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 la.
Fuck email.
But like, yeah, you realize how far you've come, I guess. So the Coca-Cola thing kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Here, 1 second, pause. There's a power cable that I think might be touching this audio cord. Like, no power cord should be touching any audio. So that one there,
Can I pee?
yeah, go for it,
Is that
dude.
okay?
Go pee.
Can I go
pee potty, guys?
You go drop those nuggets.
Yo, I'm
Yeah,
about
that
to drop
one.
some nuggets in the back. Millennium Ducats, dog.
And we're back.
Welcome back to the 4 Media Podcast.
This summer. Where were we?
I was talking about the
The team, gratitude, texts, you getting them. They love you. You love them. Go.
that 7-year difference made a big deal.
Chat GPT.
You're asking like, what is it?
get my
And
text.
sure, we do culture and we embody these things, and you know, we try to provide a really good work environment, and we can go down that rabbit hole for hours, obviously,
Of course.
between all of our companies. But big factor was the age, bro. We moved average age up 7 point something years in the company. That played a massive factor in experience. This is an important question that I asked today.
Yeah.
And it stuck with Nick because Nick then asked it twice later on and then tweeted it and then put it on his Instagram story. I was like, okay, Nick got it. Like Nick,
He put it on his story immediately after you said it, by the way.
bro. Because
Wait, what was the question specifically?
The question was, would you hire based on potential, or would you hire based on experience?
Right.
And so that's what that 7-year gap is. That's called experience.
Yeah.
And so moving the average age from 24 to 31
Yeah.
is the experience.
Yeah.
And so it's not just experience in the industry and in the skill set.
It's experience in life.
It's also experience as an employee or business owner. Both sides of the coin, but that experience allows you to appreciate what this company
Gives
and
you
this
the perspective
exactly
that is needed to work in this environment.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I think one thing that, to go back to like what 4Media does really well, I've talked with a lot of people. So we're agency founders, right? And a lot of our team that is remote is here, which is really cool because some of them we've never met in person before. Andy, one of our strategists, he was doing his own thing, and he realized he didn't want to do that anymore. It was stressful being the business owner.
And Andy was pocketing $15K a month profit for himself. Like,
yeah, and
it's hard to go be an employee and get paid half that. Too,
And Steven, our head of info, like he was doing his own thing. And
Bro, Steven collected cash, $72K, $28K of it was profit the month he quit and worked with us.
And I think it goes back to the headaches per dollar. You know, like they were like, I'd rather work with a team of fucking killers. For me, I was trying to do my own freelance thing for a while with video, and I knew Eddie was just sick at closing people, and like I knew, like honestly, it was like
That was the label?
no, yeah.
I guess you worked with me at Lifetime.
Yeah, well, I
I
just
broke every record in that company. To
Yeah.
be fair, that's fine.
yeah, no, I well, the thing
I raped them, bro. I was
Murder.
so, bro. I hit like national club quota in 7 days one month, and I just kicked my feet out. I was like, you want me to keep going? I closed enough, just for perspective, in 7 days. I closed enough for the entire team of 5 for the month. they were like, "Who the fuck is this kid?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eddie's one of the best
amazing.
salespeople. He's a
great.
sick closer.
He's great.
But I think the thing for me was like going out and getting more clients. Like that's not something that was exciting to me. The thing that was exciting to me was once they were bought in, now let's fucking execute for them and actually deliver and make them pumped that they made that decision. And that was something that I was very confident in with Eddie, where he was like casting the vision for the content team. Like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to be able to attract these big brands and do all this epic shit. And like, that was the part where I was like sick because I don't really want to do that part. Like having a sales team on my side that's going to bat for me and you know, showing these people what we can do for me. And then literally they're just served to me on a silver platter and I just get to fucking execute. That's sick. You know, like I don't have to worry about that part. So I think that's another thing that's like big for people. Like
You get to perfect your craft.
Yeah.
And get paid to do it.
yeah,
it's more fun working.
But
on time.
a lot of people don't understand that and don't know how to receive that value. They look at it, you know what I mean? Like we've experienced that in our own organization, specifically with creative, that that super hard to get people to like recognize sometimes that like, yo, dude, like, because for creative people, when you get a project that you don't like, you're not into it, but we're not paying you to be into it.
yeah,
Paying you to perfect your craft. And every project you can do excellent work in. So you got to make yourself be motivated to do some projects, right? Like every creative project you ever do, are you stoked on every single client?
Hell no.
Probably not a lot of them. But when you have the right frame of reference, what you understand is that this is an opportunity for me to get really good at something that I don't like, which ultimately just makes me better at what I do.
Funny story. You know what that's called? Being a pro.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just be a pro, right?
Yeah.
If you love the game of basketball, you could be in the shittiest game right there in that moment and be down like a motherfucker and have the other team just run circles around you. And tomorrow morning you wake up still as in love with the game.
100%.
Right? Like that's what's called being a pro.
And it truly is like the ultimate identifier of whether or not you truly love what you do. Yeah. Because people who really love what they do, even when they don't like it, they still do it. And even though it's a job and you're working for someone else, like, because we have people on our team that like, it doesn't matter what the project is, they're just sick. And then you have people who are not motivated by the project and you get shit work.
and they're moping around, and
Right.
half-assing,
Right.
taking forever.
100%.
Right. And I think the married men in the room would agree with me on this. Like, marriage isn't roses and butterflies every single fucking day. You got to work at that too.
Yeah.
But you're in love with the right thing.
Yep.
So even on a shitty day, you're still
100%.
like, you're in it. And they're
Committed
in it,
to
and
it.
You're committed to it.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. And that's the whole, that's what I'm looking, I think that's what we're all kind of looking for.
But is that easier to do with one person
Oh, for sure.
or 100?
Right. The potency.
You wanted that. You're like, wait.
Specifically with the marriage.
I don't know. Have you seen Dan Bilzerian IG? Like, but the potency, that like maintaining that potency across like a big number is hard. Like you got 100.
It's diluted. It gets diluted.
Right, for sure. But you know, I'm gonna talk about this a little bit tomorrow. But you can install like nodes. Right, nodes that are like
The echo,
that
frequency,
exactly
closer to the source, and closer to the destination.
Right.
Yeah.
And I used to be really allergic to when I was an employee. I used to be really allergic to this in certain companies, but now that like I have my own, I'm kind of leaning into it a little bit more. Jim Collins like talks about this, like when he studies all these like good to great companies and all that, like cult-like cultures. I was like, that just sounds culty. Like that's a bit gross, but I get it now. It's about having every single person in that just chant the same shit.
It's an identity, bro.
Stratton Oakmont.
Yeah.
Just go out there, and sell. Do you hate your teacher from high school? Go out there and sell, right? And it feels a bit culty. And if you're coming in from the outside, it feels weird. It's
Feels like
supposed
CrossFit.
to feel weird, but once you're in, you're motherfucking in.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm like. That's the puzzle that kind of like really gets my gears going. I'm just like, yeah, this is fun. There's something here. So if I can plant someone who not only can kind of replicate what my vision is for Right Hook as a, I don't know what we can call it, a tribe, a team, or whatever, a collection of people or organization. If they not only can replicate that, but they can start like getting fired up about that shit and say it in their own words, right? In a few ways, like a cult. Yeah. Right? And they take it and they interpret it in their own ways, but still in line with the message. Now you've got one node and you can trust that node. And I like this phrase a lot. My coach told me about it. Trust, but verify. Yeah. Don't just trust, but verify. You know, so you're there.
I think that's Ronald Reagan. Who said
was it
that.
Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
Right. I think
That's
the
his coach.
I think the military.
coach is
adopted
Ronald
that.
You guys are so good at remembering who said
He
what.
talks to Ronald Reagan on ChatGPT.
Thomas Johnson.
Yeah,
you
this
know?
guy
Who the
said this
fuck
one
are
thing.
these-
I could be full of shit, by the way. Someone on the internet, right, like later could just be like, "That was a lie."
I actually
no one said that.
No one said that
one
shit.
said that.
I'm like, damn, you guys are good.
Bill Shakespeare say that? Is that
Right. Good old Bill, man. He's got the goods. But having one node and then another node, and that allows for that little bit more latitude, right? And if that node knows how to look for other nodes, then you have latitude, and then you have that string kind of coming back. And we all have seen proof of this. Look at Christianity.
Yeah.
Right? Like the church, it's not like there is like a God doesn't come down every week and be like, I gotta audit what your sermon is. Like, gotta make sure you're on brand.
Check the
here.
SOPs.
Yeah, I gotta check the SOPs.
Yeah.
But they're indoctrinated, that term.
How
you
big
used,
are the
they're-
wafers?
They're indoctrinated enough and fervent enough about it that they, like a community starts to coalesce around that one pastor or priest. And then that feeds into the diocese, or I forget.
Dude, the
what
church does have a really good org chart, low key though.
Facts.
right.
Well, which
right.
church, right? Because there's like
Let's
Catholicism.
say Catholic church.
Catholicism,
Let's say
there's
Catholic
also
church.
Christianity, or
Protestants,
Protestants.
Of
Yeah,
course,
for sure.
I'm
But
more
that
familiar with the
general
Catholic
model,
church.
I guess.
Catholic church structure is what I'm most familiar with.
Right. Same
like
here.
from
Like, I was-
pope to
dude.
bishops, popes, patriarchs, bishops.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They got the problems, right? Like
Yeah,
shit.
I was gonna
Obviously,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
But from
Org
a
chart, I'm just
repeat
talking
the
org
message
chart, yeah.
standpoint, from like a repeat the message standpoint, there's something.
To be
there.
fair, they do have an SOP book.
Very open to interpretation,
Yeah.
though. I've seen some people like really twist the shit out of that and be like, "Wow, you came to that."
Wow,
conclusion?"
we went
You know, yeah. Like,
a different kind or whatever. There's
you went
all
through some
kinds of-
special training.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, the people thing and that, because then the management of operations starts to become smoother as well, and all that, the pass through of information. Like one thing that we try to do, like at home base as well, is if as partner of the company, it's inevitable that I have the power to call you out on your shit. But I need to make sure that you guys, I infuse the power for you to call me out on my shit, as scary as it is. Because the last thing I can afford is to be walking around emperor no clothes. It scares the living shit out of me. That's the number one fear of mine, because I've worked under enough bosses like that where they were walking around full of shit, but their shit don't stink, and no one could give them feedback.
Yeah.
Right?
How regularly do you ask for that feedback?
What I'm trying to instill now is end of every one-on-one, 10 minutes, to be like, and it's a really simple exercise.
How often do you do one-on-ones?
With some of my team members, daily.
What?
Yeah, with some. 'Cause don't forget, my team equals management layer or executive layer only.
Which is how many
Right?
people?
Which is Ray, Scott, Luke. I do it with Lorena, Marilyn, and Nikki. I kind of do it like monthly because they're not my direct report. Eva, Chris. So like 8 or 9.
7?
8 or 9. Yeah.
Daily one-on-one?
No. Some daily, some weekly, but it's a different like problem solving. Like
Still
Toyota Kata.
weekly still
like
weekly still strong.
problem-solving.
Right.
Yeah.
But the the feedback part, at the end of each one-on-one, and this is something I think people can use, it's two things, right? It's just love that, wish that. As a form, it kind of, instead of going like, what feedback do you have for me? Which can be a bit affronting sometimes, and they're kind of blank. It's like, love that, wish that. With the thing that we're doing, or with my coaching for you, what do you love? Specifically, what do you love? And on the other side, what do you wish that we did more or less of? And a lot of the time, like with the meeker employees, they're like, oh, I can't think of anything right now. And then I'll go, gun to your head, we have to improve this process. Even if it's incrementally, what's one thing we can start doing?
We use stop, start, continue. Very similar
right.
Keep
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like burn harness, scaling up.
So, but can you
Scaling
actually
up.
say that though? To like, gun to your head. I need an answer.
Oh, I said
Elon Musk said it, bro.
I don't want to be affronting, but gun to your head. We need to improve this process.
I know you just started yesterday.
Listen,
You will be killed.
Frank.
If you had to lose your second, your
had-
remaining leg,
If you had to lose your arms right now, so you have no legs and no arms, gun to your head. What
feedback do you have for me?
Frank?
But it's actually a really hypothetical question, right? Because guns are actually illegal in Australia. Aren't they? Yeah. So
Yeah.
Machete to your neck.
yeah, machete.
Crocodile to your face. Yeah.
That's
but yeah, so one-on-ones like that. That's the kind of frequency.
That's an insane
But
amount,
but it's not one-on-ones like a touchy-feely one, nor a KPI one. It's
coaching, right?
It's coaching.
Yeah.
It's very
training.
What problem are you solving?
But so you're saying you ask for feedback on every one-on-one?
at the end of every
what possibly changes week to week?
Well, if it's daily, that's like
But even week to week, bro, like what possibly are they changing about their feedback to you as a CEO on a week to week basis?
It's not so much to ask it for a change, but to make sure that they remember that the opportunity is always there.
Okay, that's different. I understand.
Right? To repeatedly repeat yourself, I think that's like an ego
that they
thing.
still will never take because they still fear you.
I let my boardroom roast me.
Until
I love that.
I just
somebody-
literally 12 of them in a room. I was like, tell me, and they were kind of like, "Oh, is this a test?"
yeah.
And then the first person went. I was like, "Cool, I agree with that. Here's why this. Here's why that." And then everyone's like, "Oh, I think you suck at this."
Because once they get the permission, like,
yeah, but that's what I want. I want the honest. I want to know like what can be fixed, and some of them I didn't agree with. Like Andrew told me one. He's like, a couple people mentioned this, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck about that opinion. Like if that's what they want to think, like that's their own intrinsic personal opinion, and I'm not going to cater my life and how I navigate it to that opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
that's
there's
fair.
both sides.
You don't have to exactly. You don't have to. And that's something that we have in our culture.
You can
as well.
accept what's real for you and what's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to take everything on,
Live
but you
your
have to listen.
truth.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to at least hear them.
100%. But it's interesting to take that perspective.
It's you're really good at this. You know what I mean? And I think that like everyone has a different way to do the same dance. Everyone has a different way to cook a cake. We can all have the same recipe, but the cake could come out completely different depending on who the baker is, right? And
What are you putting in your cake?
So what I put in my cake, I like to inject it. With cream. And I'm talking that cash money, dog.
Cheer.
Cash rules everything around me. No! 20-year-old in the house. No, so no, but the point is that like everyone has a different management style. Everyone has a different way of communicating information. Everyone wants similarly a same result, but can have a different way to achieve it. And I used to have a very similar approach, and I don't think that there's a right way to do anything. But what I have gone through personally in this last year, and the way that I now look at business, I think that this is the first time ever in my professional career where I've officially been able to separate relationships from the business. And it's a really hard thing to do because if you are
With your employees.
yes, if you have an abundance mindset and you really love your people, it's very easy to cover up and make excuses for people that you care about. But ultimately, you're hurting your business. And there's no emotion in your business. Like, it's profit or loss. It's win or lose. It's scale or die, right? It's grow, right? Or die, right? And when you have human capital or people and you're trusting them to do a great job and you're trying to grow a business, but when you start to understand at a deeper level as you audit and get really in tune with the needs of your business, that some of these people just don't make sense, right?
And if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yes, 100%. And that's a very tough thing to grapple with as an entrepreneur, because, you know, you're forced to be like, okay, most of the decisions, I've said this before, in your business don't feel good, but they're right for your business. And getting really good at separating those two things from a people standpoint, from a process standpoint, from, you know, that's like the difference, in my opinion, of like the 1% of the 1%. You know, the people who are truly excellent for in the area, in the game of business, is that they don't tolerate that.
So on that note,
Yeah.
you know, you mentioned today that you're going to have to cut 50% of your workforce in the next 7 days.
Well, we've already done that.
AI did it for him.
Like, yeah, AI did it for me.
Yo, fire
I
these
said,
people.
I mean-
I went into ChatGPT
Kindly.
and I said, yo, write an email like Elon Musk, but sign it Tommy Patterson to the entire team.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean,
he did not do that, actually. Can we?
like, legally, we're not signing off.
I think.
These are real humans.
I think.
I think. But like, how do you guys weigh that? Like, okay, like Kyle, I know your perspective as a what is your role? COO, right?
Yes.
What is it also partially CFO? Like, you don't have an official CFO, do you guys? I've never met.
We have a
we have a
finance
finance
director.
manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, he's definitely newer to his position, and
I got you.
do a lot of the finance stuff.
So
He's
he does
been a
more.
great
He
help.
does
He's been a great
more.
help.
He's amazing.
He does more management and bookkeeping,
player.
and you do more strategic planning on that side. It seems like.
So I did, and in the last few months, actually, he's really stepped up and helped us with a lot of projections. And
That's
a
the
lot
best.
Of,
That's a
He's
lot of
getting-
time
yeah,
off.
he's getting-
Projections are
He's
brutal,
getting
bro.
really-
So much
he's
time.
getting really good at it.
Yep.
That's awesome. So I, you know, your perspective is probably a little bit more dry and based on numbers, right? P&Ls, those things. Like, it's easy for you to say.
I mean, dude, look, it's never easy to say we have to get rid of 30 people or 40
I
people.
don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But like, as a COO,
It doesn't
just
feel good.
job role,
It doesn't feel good.
it's easier to say it as a COO than a CEO, I feel like, in a way. Like, as a CEO, you have a more emotional attachment, or you've created an emotional attachment from your team to you compared to a COO.
when you shouldn't
Well,
have.
It's probably easier for me because I joined Weekend Digital a year ago. It's probably harder for Tom because Tom's been there since the beginning and really hired a lot of these people. But I don't know if the role specifically has more or less to do with it.
I guess the role wasn't the right answer. I would say usually the people who are in those roles, from a character, from just who they are as a persona, they are more the
Like
way
analytical versus
versus emotional.
integrative
Exactly.
versus visionary role.
Exactly. That's kind of where I'm getting at. Like, all the CFOs, COOs I've met, not all of them, but like a large majority of them are those kind of people who are very like, no, numbers say this is what we're doing. Whereas the CEO is like, how can we not do that? Like, how can we get around firing these people? Can I
Depends
find
on
a
the
different
CEO
solution?
though, right?
That's fair as well. So
But yes, I think that you know, any business that has started from a garage that has grown to 130 people, as you evolve in that business, there's people that grow with you, and they reach a certain point of growth where they can no longer maintain the journey.
or even just grow as fast.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a tough thing to grapple with. It's not because I don't love this person. It's not because they're not a good person. It's not because they're good at that role, but they're not good enough at that role anymore, and they are no longer growing in the organization. Therefore, they're not needed for the next phase.
I understand that. So my question is like, how does that weigh on you mentally though? Like, how hard was that decision to make? Did you look at the numbers and you were like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, let's fire them all. Or were you like, damn,
Dude,
this really.
We've been dragging our feet on this for
We drag
A
our
year,
feet.
right?
We should have done this
January
in
of last year.
January of last year, and it took us 6 months to grow the cojones to go through it, and then we had to do it like 3 more times, and we should have just done all of it right in the beginning.
Is it because obviously you guys do content too, or at least you guys are still doing content? Yeah.
That's their core, right?
Yeah.
That's how you guys started, was content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started as a creative shop.
Yeah.
Makes
You
sense.
know,
So is most of the people that you're cutting, is that on the creative side or is it on the ad side, or like is it even split?
It's in every area that doesn't make sense. Like it's not like, or I mean that does make sense. I'm sorry. It's not like we're going, oh, it's more like this is how much revenue we need to create or profit we want to generate, and this is actually what's necessary to do this, because I literally for the last 3 months have been doing every single job. This is what this business actually can run with. Who are the people that I want to do this with? And also too, I think it's really important to give some context too. You know, when you scale as hard as we did, and when you grow that fast, and you don't grow with like roots and process, things just break all over the place. And then on top of that, now integrate other people's companies into your company.
Yeah.
And then what you very quickly realize is like, so your machine was working, and it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but now you're taking 2, 3 other companies, putting them in, and then you realize that like, oh my God, this is more broken over here than it is right here. And I need to make these 2 things work. And then also on top of that, a lot of the people that you bring into the organization that, you know, you have a great relationship with, but maybe have not actually adequately done your due diligence on who they are or how they operate and how they execute. And you're trusting that they're excellent at what they do. Man, that just creates problem after problem after problem. And it's only when you make the decision to go in and to audit what they do, how they do it, and the people that they manage and what they do and how they do that, that you realize that, holy fuck, dude, this was never working. How did this even work before I even got it?
That's true,
This
man.
is 3 hamsters in a trench coat.
Yeah.
So, you know, and like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I think the advice that I would give to any CEO of any company of any size right now is to get on the ground, boots on the ground, and work in every department that you have, even if it's for fucking 2 days. And the rampant inefficiencies that you will see and understand will tell you that, man, we have a lot of work to do. Like, not every CEO, but every CEO should do this. You want to know
Kind of like
why?
Undercover Boss.
Seriously. You cannot fix a problem that you don't understand.
Or don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
That's right.
And here's the other thing. What a great CEO is a focused, active listener and delegator, problem solver. And if you go and you trust someone and you say like, hey, I am giving you this trust for you to manage this group of people, but in that group of people that they are managing, there's mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Okay, well, it means that whoever you are trusting in that management position is either not good at managing people, right? Or the people, right, are not good at managing them. Like, do you see how this all, and there's no way for you to know because he's trusting what he's getting told, right? But it still keeps happening. And what it means is that the manager is not in touch with the people. And so now what you have to do is you have to understand from the person and the manager where the real problem is and how to solve the problem at the root cause. And a lot of times it's both. It's both people. Right?
Toyota.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
I feel like this is a good time to bring up what you brought up earlier, D, was
Coaches?
the coaches. Yeah. How you said that the goal is to have everyone in the company have a coach, right?
Right.
Can you go into that a little more?
Yeah. So, to properly answer that question, I think it requires like the appropriate amount of context, right? The model of managing work that most of us have been introduced to in our professional lives came out of the Industrial Revolution. Fair? Like, right?
Fair.
When
Mass
What is that?
production.
Chat GPT, what is that? I'm just kidding.
Okay, cool. I was like, am I waiting for an answer from ChatGPT right now? Because they might give a better answer than I can.
The Industrial Revolution is.
Yeah. If you go read these books. So anyway, one of the management philosophies that came out of that time came from this guy named Frederick Taylor. And it was called scientific management. Scientific management the tenets of scientific management kind of goes like this. Every person in your factory, because that was the kind of Silicon Valley of the time, right?
Yep.
Assembly lines and replicable.
Leveraging,
Right.
yeah, systems
Right.
and people.
Yep.
Every human is a cog, and every cog is replaceable. So train them and treat them accordingly. Because keep in mind, great poverty, there were lines outside of the factory of people that needed to work. So easily replaceable talent, and I mean, it's not even really called talent, but you know what I mean, like workforce. And very simple jobs to do. Pick up gear A, slot into position 1, turn 3 times to the right, make sure the assembly line moves on, wash, rinse, and repeat. If you fuck that up, you're replaceable. Next. Those movie scenes where every morning they walk up and be like, you, and you got a job, come on in. Everyone else, sorry, see you tomorrow. Try again. Right? So scientific management, right? And managers' jobs, the term manager, was to supervise. And, we've inherited a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
How many jobs have we been at where managers thought that was all they're meant to do? Like if some kids, I remember having seeing this exchange between a grown up and a kid, and it's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the kid said, oh, I want to be a manager, right? And they go, why? Why do a manager? Because I get to boss people around, right? That's the picture that we have.
Yeah.
Right. The model that we're trying to, again, Toyota, the model that we're trying to set in place at work at Right Hook is to have manager as coach, not manager as supervisor. So I'm not here to supervise you doing your work. You're meant to be a fully fucking formed adult to do that yourself. I'm also not here to I'm not here to teach.
Yeah.
I hired you to do the job already. I'm here to coach. So Phil Jackson, not teach you how to play basketball.
Yep.
Right? I'm trying to, and so what does that mean? That means that I might have a team and coach, professional team coaches know this all the time. Like if my team is cashed up and I buy a lot of superstars, just because they're all superstars in their own right, when I put them together, some funky shit happens. Right? And somehow we start losing more games than winning more games. Like the math doesn't seem to shake out. Coach. Like same thing with manager, right? When an individual output, super awesome. I put them together and get them to solve a problem. They cross-relate on a project. All of a sudden, 2 + 2 = 1. The fuck is that? That's why we need that coach mentality to go like, okay, well, clearly I've got this kid who just refuses to assist, refuses to pass the ball, and just wants to fucking run it through the whole court and dunk, right? Like next to someone who's super shy, but is a real good athlete, but never asks for the ball. I'm going to problem solve around that rather than individual output, because so much of our work is predicated on teamwork. Like this podcast and this setup, a team had to put it together, right? Or you slim it down and you have one individual, right? But like you said, if that individual you find is 99% efficient, it makes business sense to find 2 individuals and get back to the 99% efficiency. So that first person can now be the coach. That's like, oh, kid, let me show you how it's done around here. Maybe follow me around for 2 weeks. Don't do any work. Just ask me questions, right? And I expect the dumbest questions. And now, guess what? When that pairing starts to mature, you now have 2 coaches. Guess what? Now you can take on 2 more. And when those 2 graduate, now you have 4 coaches. And those 4 coaches came up together. So there's a bit of camaraderie there too. And now they teach those ways. Now they can take 4. So now that's the super spreader kind of model. So that is the crux of the whole thing. And it's not coaching against like some kind of arbitrary touchy-feely bullshit. It's what problem are you solving? Right? And I'm going to give you lessons.
Outcome optimized.
Right. It's all about performance. It's not about family. I told my team this too. Like, we are not a family. Let's get this really fucking straight. Because you cannot choose your family.
Yep.
Right? You can choose your team. So if you're here, be here. If you're not here, that's fine too. But don't be here. So it's very performance driven. Like, you know, like the SEALs know this. I think like
we are in the performance business.
Right.
It requires performance culture. It requires a performance mindset.
Right.
This may not be the place for you.
Right. But that's not to say that you don't form really strong bonds with the people that you go through really tough shit with
100%.
and feel like family, but you're not all touchy family first. Yeah. It's still performance first. Like
we're a business.
Right. There's a mission to be accomplished, and I can't coddle you through going through like past enemy lines. Like, my life depends on yours and your life depends on mine. Like, there are organizations out there that is literally what like predicates their job, their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure that there are some things that we can adopt from those places, you know? So that's the way that I think through it. And I try to get my team or see whether that inner circle of that management layer that I like coach and train, like my team, like whether we have that there or not. And so we're still at those stages, right? Before we disseminate out even farther. Hence why, like, I can't ask those people yet. They haven't even touched, like, they received any of this yet, right? So let's look at the process first and eliminate that rather than just like jump the gun straight to like the people.
Wow.
When you said that there's certain times where you said like basically there's people that are almost like shadowing for like a couple of weeks or whatever, are they still doing like anything else?
Job?
That's the stuff.
Yeah.
That's the stuff we're trying to figure out.
Because I'm like, how do you
Stuff we're trying
afford to have that many people?
That is
that are
exactly
just
what we're
shadowing?
trying to. That's exactly what we're trying to figure out from a P&L standpoint. It's like, if we can, so we call it op readiness, right? From day one at your job to operationally ready. What is that time? And because, you know, like, we've all been in those jobs before where like it's your first day and the manager's just like, there's your laptop. There's the list of people you're meant to go like do the cold calls. Don't fuck this up. And you're just like, wait.
I'm home.
Yeah. Right. Like, that's more the norm than the exception. Like, right? Can we agree on that at least?
Yeah.
Like, that's more the norm than the exception. But if I'm here on my high horse saying like, I expect a fucking high performance, this, that, and the other, and they go, wait, this is my high performance fucking onboard? That's a bit like full of shit. So same kind of thing. What is that time? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 months?
Is it 1 week?
Is it 1 week? Is it 7 days? Because we've cut like tons of corners, especially when it's like COVID, when so many D2C brands were just popping off and business was just
Greatest
like
year of my life.
Right.
COVID was the greatest gift.
We did so much stupid shit. We were just
And I mean that
onboarded
in a
employees
positive
like.
way.
Sorry, say that again.
I said I mean that in a positive way. Of sorry if anybody, but
Yeah.
COVID was great time for business.
From a D2C standpoint, of
It
course.
was a great time in the world, and it was an incredible time to rapidly, like, grow and get to a level that you, like, it was a boom.
Bro, they were pumping so much money. They were injecting so much money into the economy.
It was the craziest time ever, and from a business standpoint, like, you could make this monumental leap that you would have not
Super
ever
normal conditions.
Yes, that you would have not ever been able to like it was a very, very unique time in the world of business for a lot of people. And it catapulted you, like, depending on your skill set at that time, like 5 years into the future of what your business probably would have grown at, and forced you to rapidly adapt and learn new things so quickly. And then it opened up a fucking whirlwind of potential failures because you lacked the experience that you needed when you got to that level. And so just as fast as you rose, a lot of people fell. And so it's a fascinating time. And you see this right now, just even in the D2C landscape. You see all these businesses that were like, came up, got to multi-8 figures, got to 8 figures, got really quick, and now are disappearing. Bloop. Pop, 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 pop. Because they didn't have the mindset or the sophistication to survive and to continue to thrive.
Totally. It's one of those. It's like those dudes that like are on a curated diet of Diana Ball. And, you know what I mean? Like test, like they're just like juicing up, right?
Yeah.
And then once you stop the juice, it's just like,
Yeah.
It's like SpongeBob with his arms. when he
right,
deflates.
totally. Like it just doesn't keep up anymore. It's just super normal. Like you just jacked up with so much stuff, but once that stuff is gone,
Yeah, man.
you realize that like the base was really like lacking.
Totally.
But
Some scary shit.
had we had the experience we have now and gone through that, and the next cycle, because it will happen again.
Yes.
Now you know what to.
But that's the beauty of it, though, right?
Yes.
Like, and
Yeah.
that's the point, is that like, while 2022 was an insanely challenging year, it was also a year that you needed. A year that you needed to grow your business acumen, your ability to make tough decisions, so that the next time this happens, your ability to thrive and be prepared and to have the foresight and the expertise, right? The experience to know how to handle that situation. And bro, like, this is the best time for every business, in my opinion, is because if you can get lean and stay lean and maintain that mindset going into a great season, oh my gosh, how much more valuable is your business?
Yeah.
How much more valuable is your company? Like, how much more profit do you get to keep because you've learned what you actually need versus what you think you need?
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
I think a big eye opener for us as well, like Tommy and I acquire other agencies, was looking, and you see these 8-figure agencies that are doing $10, $15 million a year, and they have like 14 employees. And then we looked at our own business and we're like, we have a fraction of that and we have 100 employees. Like, how does any of this make sense? And it's not just like one of those 8-figure agencies. It's like
Lots of
multiple of them. Yeah.
Lots
So
of
it's not like an outlier unicorn
Yeah,
type
exactly.
thing.
No.
It's a feasible model.
It's
Exactly.
doable.
Yeah.
We were looking at an agency the other day. $80 million is what they're asking for. 7 million EBITDA, 14 people, over 50 clients.
It's like 70 clients.
Yeah.
What are their services?
Paid social.
performance marketing type stuff.
Yeah,
SEO.
same stuff that we do. Same stuff that we do. 14 people. But this is the point, though. You see that, and then you see what you have, and you know it's possible. Like, you know it's totally doable. And it also, like, for me anyways, shining just this hardcore light on the potential of your business you don't even realize. Right? Like, and what you can actually do in a business like this with so little.
Totally.
Like 14 savages versus 100
That is very, man.
okay
Yeah.
people.
That is very impressive.
Bro, I'm still like trying to
Dude, it also goes back to
take that in.
2020 and the rapid growth that everyone had, and the best solution, the quickest solution to we have more clients is we need more people.
Throw a body at it.
When that's not the real solution is figure out a way to optimize the current staff to the maximum and then automate and then hire. Right? But nobody had time to do that because growth was so exponential.
Yes.
But I guess the dilemma here is like, you don't really know that it's efficient and that it's at its potential until you re-break it in a way. So, you know what I mean? Like you could be like, okay, we're very efficient right now. We're ready to hire. You hire. Holy fuck, we're actually not efficient. We just realized because we hired.
Well,
Looking back, there was still a lot of it. So it's always this game you're playing, right? It's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back.
But does it have to be though, or I guess that the way that I would frame that is that like if you're really in tune with your business, then it
of course, bro. But like it takes time to get the results. Like, let's be honest. How many times have you guys gone to implement something and you don't know that it was a good or bad decision until 90 days, until 6 months out from that decision, and now you've lost half a year on that decision making process. Because it took you, it seemed good decision week, month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. It's still, you're like, dude, we made the right choice. And then month 6, something happened. You grew enough, you expanded enough, or you got to a point further down the road in that decision that now you can reflect and be like, oh, damn, that was a bad decision because of this thing. Now we're 6 months out when we thought we had a good decision. I mean, this happens all the time. And now you're a year out in your business from 2 decisions, a 6-month decision, a 6-month decision. Like, it's not as simple as like,
but you know what that
we
sounds
got
like?
our
Do
inefficiencies.
you know what that sounds like to me?
Business.
No, that sounds like 100-person problem.
with blinders on.
That's what honestly,
the 6-month thing.
That sounds like a 100-person problem because with 14 people, that shit you figure out in 2 weeks. You figure that out 2 days, maybe even. Like that's just the point. And again, I'm not anti-people, by the way, and I'm not anti having a big company. I think that it really comes down to what you want from the business and like what's your end goal with the business. And from like what I've realized specifically in the service business and in a different capacity, a different company, a different vertical, it might be a more scalable thing to do, right? Like I think that having 500 software engineers probably makes a lot of sense for a SaaS company, right? Maybe, I don't know. But in the services business, from just going from like 19 people and 3 e-commerce brands and insanely profitable, and that's like with like 20 clients, to going to 130 people with like 70 clients and some e-commerce brands and profitable, but
more headaches for sure.
A fucking mess, you know, makes you kind of reevaluate like, oh, damn, way more fun over here.
Headaches per
like,
dollar earned.
Yeah. Love, like
what a metric.
Inspired by my team over here, hyped on everything we're doing over here. Still challenging, but I love the challenge. Where it's like, oh my God, nobody can do anything right.
That one hits.
Nobody can do anything
Sometimes
right.
it feels like that, dude.
Yeah, dude. And more importantly, the bigger problem is that nobody even knows that they're not doing anything right. They don't even know. And the person that's working directly with them doesn't know, and the person that's managing the group of people doesn't know, and the person that's managing the person of the person who's managing the group of people doesn't know. And it's only when someone like me steps in and sees it within 30 minutes of having a conversation that you realize like, oh my God, how did this happen? How does nobody see what I see right now? That, my friends, is scary as fuck. Because if I can figure this out in 30 minutes,
what have we been doing?
What have we been doing?
Well, I mean, the answer is that we haven't been training our people adequately enough to be able to think.
Yes.
Or
I was
you
gonna say,
didn't
how do you-
hire someone experienced enough.
Yeah.
Well, dude, even that.
I don't know, man. I think that is the solution to most of the problems. Like, I truly have gotten to the point where I believe that. So, which is why I asked it like twice today, which is why I think Nick also, like, something clicked in his head when I asked that too, because he's like, holy fuck. He's right, because like that is that 7-year gap. That all our inefficiencies have been reduced because of the experience solution. I
agree with that statement.
Like it's
I agree with that statement, but I think that also it doesn't mean that you need to have 100 experience.
Oh, no. I don't disagree with you. I think what it does mean though is when you reduce yourself from 100 to 31 on the way back up, that's how you hire.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you get what I'm saying? That's what it means. That's really the true.
Yeah, but dude, like, so, you know, since Kyle has come into our organization and since we became partners, like, I mean, when Kyle met us, we were primarily overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Kyle came in and my payroll went through the fucking roof and we hired like experienced people, and, you know, without the proper training and oversight and accountability, you just get a better problem.
But you said something on stage today that's very important.
Yeah.
You take the client's frameworks and you put them inside of your box so that you can move the box forward.
Yep.
But isn't the employee the same thing? Someone with experience, you take their experience and all the problems that they've solved and things that they've seen that you haven't in your business, and what your training really is the frameworks of it's your box.
Oh, I know.
It's you're saying, these are our values, these are our rules, here's how we play within them. Go.
Yes.
And that's really what the training is. It's not let me teach you how to do your job. I'm hiring you, expecting you, like Dee said, to know how to do your fucking job.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, when you do that job here, it needs to stay here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let them operate inside those walls.
Yeah. Give them the sandbox. Give them the sandbox. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, the way that we train is very, like, we don't give them the answers. Like, we force you to get the answer. And we keep working with you until you come up with the right answer. I lead you to the answer. I don't give it to you.
Red flag if you can't find it, though.
Yeah. Big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Depends on the question. Tommy can be rough.
Really?
I want to see some Zoom recordings now.
How rough?
Yeah.
I want to see some Zoom
No, I'm
recordings now. Cut to B-roll.
I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm rough. I'm just incapable of bullshit at this stage. Like I don't.
You're less tolerant to it, for
I
sure.
don't. I do not have the time for you, especially when it comes to people who have been in this role for this long, and I ask you like a fucking math 101 question, and you're stumbling. You know.
100%.
And you know, like, again, you know, for us, look, we had a turbulent year. I mean, we still grew, but it was the hardest year of my life. And more importantly, not to mention the fact of, you know, millions of dollars of uncollected receivables just from what's happening in the world. Right. And then so you take all of these things, health challenge, you take all these things, have them compound, and then it forces you to take a really, really hard look at your business and the people that are operating in your business. And someone that's been working for you for 3 years can't give you a basic answer to something that is their job. You as a CEO have failed. You know, like, I've failed.
Yeah.
As a CEO. If I can go down 6 layers deep and the person that's been at my company for 3 years doesn't have a clue about a very simple thing that they do for me and my company, like, there's a big problem. And it's not their fault. It's my fault because I didn't do a good job with C-suite, and C-suite didn't do a good job with management, and management didn't do a good job with the people. And so, do you go and try to fix that with 130 people, or do you go and try to fix that with the right people?
I like that note to end on.
Yeah.
That being said, you've been on this podcast before, so you haven't, and neither have you. We like to end them with piece of fortune cookie advice. So, like, one thing, it could be a sentence, it could be a few sentences. You don't really need to limit the length, but if you could go back, to your like mid-20s and you were starting business life all over again, it doesn't have to be related to business necessarily, but more life holistically. It could be business oriented, it could not. What's the one piece of advice, just one thing that you could give to your younger self to guide you in a better direction over the next 10 years?
I like that one.
Yeah, it's actually funny because somebody literally asked me that last night.
Oh,
No
you go
way.
then. So you
Yeah.
got the preloaded one.
I'll go
Yes,
first.
yes,
I'll
yes.
give you some time to think.
Yeah.
So for me, when I was 26 or 27, I had a lead generation company that I ended up selling and exiting, and I'd worked pretty much my entire life from like age 13, and I was doing like plant. I was working at a orchid factory.
Orchid factory?
Yeah, like an orchid, not factory,
Yeah, yeah.
like orchid manufacturing.
Yeah,
place, where they put them all together. And then I worked at Publix in high school, and then I went to UCF, and I had like 3 jobs through school to support myself. Graduated, no debt, and then I had a sales job immediately, like literally as soon as I graduated, and was working insane hours. And then I quit that sales job to start this company, which made me work even more hours. So then when I sold it, I was like, I'm going to take some time off. So I took what was supposed to be like 1 month off, and that 1 month turned into 6 months, and that 6 months turned into 2 years.
2 years.
So I took 2 years off, and I traveled a lot, and I pretty much became
No income for 2 years?
I mean, the money from selling the company,
Okay, okay.
which I blew all of it, by the way,
Yeah, 2 years.
and it was amazing.
And I don't regret it.
But I do,
YOLO.
you know, and I would go back and tell myself, like, find something within a month or two that you can be really passionate about, because I look back and I'm like, man, what I could have done in that year and a half, 2 years that I'll never get back. You know, I had great times,
If
but
you were
like there
focused.
was no purpose to it. But also for that reason, like I could never retire either, because I've already done that. So in that respect, it was good for me, because now I know that I could never do that. But I also could have done that with a much shorter time period, like 6 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
So find something that you're really passionate about and stick to it. And
Like-
then, yeah,
I love that.
Like you had fun, but it didn't bring you fulfillment.
Exactly.
It brought him fulfillment in that moment, but not
Right.
fulfillment in the grand scheme.
Right. Which is much more important.
Yeah.
Are you like part Asian, bro? That's a lot of like work ethic.
No, German and English, actually.
Got you.
Yeah.
I'm sure like honorary Asian needs to be given out because that's a lot of fucking work ethic.
Honor.
Yeah,
Asians,
like you get a free pair of chopsticks just to like to put in your hair or something.
Well, Kyle, I got some
That's
news
a
for you.
no kidding. That's super. That's super.
Your father was Genghis Khan. You're a descendant of Genghis Khan. bro.
Statistically, it could be true.
Okay, so one piece of advice, right? Fortune cookie to your like younger self kind of thing.
It could be a CVS receipt of a.
Okay,
fortune
okay.
cookie, though.
Got you. Okay. You do not matter as much as you think you do. So stop worrying about what other people think. Stop basing decisions on what other people's perceptions are. You don't matter half as much. I say this to some people on my team, like especially the ones that like have like one-on-ones with me every once in a while, like that aren't my direct team. I'm like, listen, let's get real here, right? Like, don't worry about like people pleasing me. Because the fact is this, if a freak accident happens and like a tourist helicopter just crashes into my office right after I end this Zoom call, you'll be sad for like what? Let's get real. 2 days? And then maybe the obligatory like RIPD Instagram post just to show that you're not like a fucking complete asshole. Next week, you'll be looking to be like, what are we doing this weekend, boys? Yeah. Like, and that's okay. I'm very okay with that, right? But it's a very liberating. That's a piece of advice I'll give my younger self, because that's a very liberating thought. It's like you will die alone, right? And you don't matter as much as you think you do. So relax a little. It's chill, right? And other people, so when other people are trying to impress you, you can just tell them to relax. It's cool. I just want to know you. And when you're in front of other people that you're really impressed by, you don't have to like try super hard to impress them either. Like just be chill, because they might never remember you, and that's okay. But what counts at the end of the day is just what you've like about yourself, you know? So you're not as special as you think you are.
I love it. Tommy, you want to do another one?
Yeah.
You've grown up. You've changed a lot the last year.
Yeah. Have I?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Your perspective on your business.
Your
on
eyes
your
look
goals.
slinkier.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
New neck.
New neck, bro. Yeah, I mean, if I could go back, like current state, and tell myself something.
It doesn't even have to be yourself. It could just be like a younger person or something.
Just tell a
some
younger
good
person?
advice to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'll even just go back to what I even said last year. You know what I mean? With big ambition comes big sacrifice, and really evaluating the cost of the price that you're going to pay, and is it worth it? Because there are greater factors than just monetary gain. There's the cost of your relationships, the cost of your mindset, your health, those things actually are the things that matter in this life, because none of this shit actually matters. And so how big your goals are, there's nothing wrong with that, but why do you actually want what you want? And is it really going to give you true purpose, right? Is it really going to fulfill you? Or is it the idea of, is it going to fulfill you, right? Just critically think harder about what you want and why you want it, and the cost that you have to pay to get what you want.
T Butters.
Sean Penn.
T Butters, dog. New record.
Thank you, gentlemen. Andrew, you got any closing?
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
This is a great podcast.
This is fucking awesome.
Thank
you guys.
you for
Thanks for
letting me
having
do
us
this.
on, guys.
This is dope.
This is Andrew, Nate, and Elise. Like, this was all them
Thanks for
putting this
staying up.
together.
You guys rock.
This is so
Appreciate
dope.
you.
Appreciate you guys. I know we went late, and I fucking thought this was awesome. This is gonna be a fucking bomb ass episode for people to listen to. So
Cool.
appreciate you guys.
Is
Anywhere
it
they can
recording?
find you.
Are we
Yeah, I mean, we can cut anything out. But anywhere.
Okay.
What's the best place to? What's the best place to follow you guys? You're on Twitter now, mainly, Kyle.
I am.
So what's your handle?
Hunt Kyle.
It's pretty easy.
Very simple. Yeah.
What do you use? Do you even use anything?
D's dong. No, I'm just. Please don't look for that one.
These dong on the hub.
On IG, it's
On the hub.
real dose of D, right?
Real dose of D, yes, sir.
On where? Where's
On
your
Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And T. T Butters
Can't
on,
find him on Twitter
Spotify.
anymore.
He's fucking suspended. Shackleford, that bastard.
Follow my SoundCloud account.
T Butters on Spotify.
I'm gonna get my account back. I'm a Twitter Blue member. Weekend CEO, WKND CEO at Twitter.
Love it.
Tommy Patterson on IG.
Cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the 4 Media Uncut podcast. If you want to work with us, learn with us, or even join the team and be a part of what we're doing at 4 Media Marketing, just go to our website. It's 4media.marketing. No .com, no .net, .marketing, because that's all we do around here. And most importantly, share this with a friend wherever you're listening to or watching this on. Please hit that share button, send it over to a friend, someone else that you think will get value out of this. It would mean the world to us.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video and comment down below any suggestions for future guests. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate this 5 stars and leave us a review there. That helps us tremendously in the algorithm world. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of 4 Media Uncut Podcast.